It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want a ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
We got a good one for you today, and I got my partner Ant-Man with me. It's going to be a fun show. We're going to be talking about Zaire Franklin, Colts guy, going after Jamaal Williams. We're going to be talking about the player that was cut, players thrown on the PUP list, NFI list, and Lions and Steelers. But let me introduce you to Anthony from Roar Lions UK. Man, what's going on, bro?
Hey, Mike. How's things over there? Glad to be back on here with you again. Love doing these shows with you.
Oh, I love it too. I love it too. My brother from across the pond. Hey, my family all over there from England, so I love talking to the ancestor over there, I guess. So we got Jamie Ward in the building, Brandon McCann, Ken Strouder, Mark Orlando. We got Bobo, Chrome. We have Weston Lyons, Ken Strouder in the building. Make sure you guys hit that like button as you roll in here. Helps push this video out there. We're going to start off with Zaire Franklin, special teamer, linebacker over there from the Indianapolis Colts. He decided to call out Jamaal Williams of the Detroit Lions. If you haven't seen the tweet, he calls him a baby. Talk about cry again while your team is a loser again. We're going to talk about this guy because I think this guy is an absolute chump. What do you think about this? I know you're telling me how you went after him as well. Give me your thoughts on Zaire Franklin.
Oh, man, if you can't deal with a little bit of, banter on the playing field or anything, you've let it get under your skin. This guy's shown what he's made of here. It's, a wet paper flannel. He can't deal with the criticism, so he has to go online and act like a big man and try and show Jamaal up there. But, I mean, yeah, as I say, as soon as I saw this, I went straight in there. He's saying that we're a losing team, go cry over another losing season. I'm like, well, hang on, isn't this coming from the team who couldn't beat the Jacksonville Jaguars to get in the playoffs this year, or were the worst side in the NFL last year? You want to talk about the mentality to win, you want to talk about having backbone, well, you ain't got it, chump, so don't have a go at our guy.
This is the guy coming from a team who got, out of the 3 practices, including the preseason game, we kind of beat him up twice out of 3 of those. So if he's talking about how we're perennial losers and we can't win, how does it make you look when you can't beat the team that you're making fun of? I think that's interesting there, Anthony.
Oh, absolutely. You've got to have the will and the desire to win. And I know they showed those snaps, they're like always beating up on him. But, man, it's like he's trying to forcibly take his shirt off him. It's like, man, just ask him. If you want his jersey that bad, just ask him. But yeah, I was really pleased. I know I've not been on since we did those joint practices last week, but like I said, we won 2 of them. The first day we looked completely out of our depth with them, but big step up from what the Falcons offered us the week before. This is one of the most disciplined, well-organized, well-entrenched teams when it comes to its trenches in the league. We adapted, we got better, we fought hard, and we really gave them a run for their money. I mean, it was great to see, and it was indicative of this. I think we got under their skin a little bit.
Definitely believe we got under their skin a little bit. I think a lot of what I'm seeing from other fan bases as well, I don't know if you're noticing this, but I've seen a lot of trash talk this year from other fan bases like the Chicago Bears, way more than normal. I think they're a little bit jealous of the love and the attention that the Lions are getting this year, and maybe they see that Dan Campbell is the right guy, so they're trying to put us down. I have noticed a massive turn-up in trash talking. That's kind of my theory that's going on right now, and I think people understand, man, it's really going good for Detroit, at least for changing the culture. So we're going to try to just down the Lions and their fan base and talk how they suck and they're always going to suck. Ha, ha, ha. Have you noticed something like that as well?
I have. I've noticed it. With we've done some other podcasts with some other teams around here. We did one with the Bears the other week. Matt did, and they were just like, yeah, they're like, no, you're not there yet. You're still the bottom dwellers. You're the ones who've still got stuff to prove. And it's like you just ignoring your own roster here at this point. Your own roster is in shambles, and yet you're still trying to take the proverbial shots at us. I agree. I think people are just really. I think it's fun to bash on Detroit, isn't it? So if Detroit ever gets good, then people lose that sort of, kicking, that little kicking mat they can go to and just kick someone if we become good. But the only thing I will say on the flip side is, we really need to back this up this year because I dread the thought of losing to some of these teams again and been like, man, I have cashed a lot of checks with my mouth and now my ass is going to receive the payback from those because we're going to get kicked. So, I really hope we can back it up on the pitch this year and prove, everyone who's given us praise is doing it for the right reasons because we are getting better.
Yeah, I think we 100%. We got to win. We got to close games out. We got to do all that. I think the biggest issue for me with this team has just been changing a culture for many years. I feel like the culture is being changed. I think Dan Campbell is really doing something, and I think a lot of people are seeing it. And folks like fan bases that may not like the Lions, they see it as well. Maybe they're a little bit disappointed because if you see other teams like the Bears, I'm not picking on the Bears or fan base or anything, but I feel like the direction they're going is the wrong direction. And that was us with Matt Patricia upset. Yeah. But then they see a team like the Lions who's been garbage for a long time. They're going in the right direction and maybe a little bit upset about it. So I think that's something potentially, why this is occurring. I freaking love it because we just sit back. We see what's going on with the Lions. I personally been at training camp. They're weak. We watched it. There is a different feel to this football team. It's 100% legit. The feeling is not the same. I've been to many training camps. I do feel the culture is changing, and this is a big issue. We talk about the practice that the players took over yesterday. What is your initial thought on this practice, having the coaches sit back and let the players take control and give them responsibility to see if they can bring the same passion when the coaches are not around?
Well, I mean, this is the end game with them, really, isn't it? I remember back earlier in this year, Dan Campbell said the end goal was for him to be able to let his players go onto the pitch and trust them with the game plan and let them get on with it. And that is his end goal for this team. So I understand why he's giving them the practices to see how they deal with the responsibility, how they deal with the training. I think that's just steady management from him. And plus, it's a little different for the players as well. Rather than getting beasted by the coaches all the time, go out there and show that you can do the training. Go out there and show that you're capable of going out, running drills, doing all this, that, and the other. Show that you're learning and getting closer to that end goal that Dan Campbell wants, which is, him not to have to interfere with the team too much. So, no, I really liked it. And from all accounts, it went really well. The team's, fighting hard. You talked about the culture changing there and how we can see it. And yes, you can. I mean, no more so than proved in that Colts game the weekend just gone. The number of players who are fighting their asses off to get on this roster because they realize, oh, hang on, I think my spot's maybe in a bit of danger here. They're making so much competition. They're giving so much headaches. I mean, we're over here thinking, we thought we might have a roster done up a few weeks ago. It's like, no, we have no idea what it's going to be now. There's that many players trying to stake a claim here, but that's the culture you want. Players, pushing each other as far as they can to get and earn a spot on this team.
I revert back to what Herman Morris said to me. We talked about leadership, and he talked about, can there be leaders with players? Can players stick up and take some of this role? Clearly, with this type of practice, that is occurring. When you allow, players to take a leadership role, give them responsibility, that's how you build team chemistry as well. It's how you build your hierarchy. And when he sat back and it happened, that's awesome. Taylor Decker even talked about this is something that's never been done before, and it was really nice. That's awesome. And you can also go back to 2011 where you couldn't go to camps because there was a lockout. The Detroit Lions at that time, Matthew Stafford and the players like Kyle Vanden Bosch, they did their own organized team activities without any coaches before the regular season. It ended up being a very good thing for that season, the Lions went 5-0. So I love the concept of doing this every once in a while. This is something you don't do all the time, but when you give responsibility to players and you make them feel like they're adults, that's a damn good thing, if you ask me.
Exactly. And, I think it's something that's needed because, like you've seen with Hard Knocks and bits like that, the coaches are not going easy on these players. They're pushing them, specifically a few, in particular. But, when you're pushing them, they're working hard, you see you're getting the rewards from that, then you do reward them with things like this. Give them the opportunity, like, say, to go out and be their own leaders. Where we struggled last year, we struggled a lot in the 2-minute drills, especially on the defense. You want guys who are going to come in those situations because, you're playing really fast at that point. You've not really got much chance to stand still, get in the huddle, come up with things. You want a guy to go, right, I'm going to take charge here. I'm going to make sure this defense is good. I'm going to make sure we stop them getting down the field. And if you can do practices like this, where the natural leaders emerge, so next time we're in a 2-minute situation, they stand up and we win, then it's so beneficial to this team. That's what you want. So I'm hoping that, this added responsibility for the players, it pays off in the long run.
There's nothing like holding yourself accountable and holding your teammates accountable in your team-oriented leadership and how it rolls. That's something that the Army does quite a bit, is you hold each other accountable. Yes, you may have your sergeant, like I was a sergeant, and you have your own team, but when you can square yourself away, you take that role, it really develops everybody. And that is something that is well needed, again, for a culture type of change here in Detroit. Really, really liked it. I love how it worked. And again, the offense did a spectacular job. We're going to talk about the offense in a minute, but news did come out today that we released Sean Dion Hamilton, linebacker there, who plays Jamison Williams, NFI list, Romeo Okwara, Jason Cabinda, and Josh Pascal on the PUP list. Initial thoughts of these players getting thrown these lists and Sean Dion Hamilton being released?
Sean Dion Hamilton, I am not surprised with. I think that's the right decision. I've been very critical of this team in the fact that it has a lot of players who are good at special teams, but don't offer much to your first team. The whole point of a player getting on a team through special teams is you see something in him to be able to get into the first team in the long run. He has not been able to do that. He was injured last year as well, which doesn't help, but he's never shown that progression to show that he might be able to offer anything more than special teams. So get rid. You can find players coming out of college who can do special teams, who may give you a first team player in the future. So, I'm not surprised that on the injury lists. Obviously, we knew Jamison was going on, so that's no shock there. The rest, there's a bit of good news, bit of bad news. I'm delighted that Levi and Jerry Jacobs are not on there. Hopefully they're going to be back and ready to go for the season, which will be great for us. Romeo, Pascal, that's disappointing because we're going to get another Levi season, it looks like here, and it's just frustrating because these are high draft picks we're putting on these guys. But look, I ain't going to hold it against him. He got injured earlier in the year. It cannot be helped. So hopefully 4 weeks is more than enough time for them to get him fit, get him back, get him in the team. Romeo, I'm worried with. And I'm starting to have doubts about him here. If, because he's out till week 4 as it stands. The bye is week 7? I said, and I've put it on Twitter not that long ago, actually, if he's not back by the bye and still ready to go, then I'm opening the trade market up for him. I'm opening the cut button up for him. We're paying him a lot of money, and he will not have been fit for the first half of his contract. And it's hard for me to say, but I'm taking zero tolerance on injuries now. Injuries are ruining our cap. Injuries are ruining this team. Injuries are ruining our seasons. This is a massive injury he's coming off, and it's going to take him time to get better again. And if he's not back till before the bye, second half of the season, he's not going to be fit basically till the end of the year. And I'm sorry, we're wasting 2 years, 26 million on him. I just got to press the cut button. And I hate to say it, but it's concerning me really, really badly.
I'm with you 110%. I'm tired of the injuries, tired of having to deal with this, and it seems to be happening on defense quite a bit. I'm with you. If you can't stay healthy, get out of here. Well, I'm tired of the Deshaun hands. I'm tired of the issues of not being on the field. You're not helping the team. If you're not on the field, you have to stay healthy. You have to be able to be a player that can contribute. The best ability is availability. I cannot agree more. I was talking about this with Raw Detroit behind the scenes today. The injuries are becoming an issue with the same players, and it's got to stop. Changes has got to be made regarding that. I have zero tolerance now for the same injuries of the same players. Injury here and there that happens, it's a freak injury, it's going to happen. But when it's consistent basis with the same players, now we're going to have a problem. Folks, I did a pinned comment. I put a link in there. Roar of the Lions UK's YouTube channel. Right now they got 507 subscribers. Unacceptable. Whether you're live right now or you're going to be watching this after the fact, I want every single subscriber on this channel to subscribe to Roar of the Lions UK. They got epic content over there. Doing live streams about our Lions and, really important, college and prospects. Why? Because that's a big part of going forward with the Detroit Lions is prospects and the draft. Really important. So make sure you guys subscribe to that channel because you're talking about a player who I must admit, it's looking like you're right, and I'm epically wrong about this. I didn't believe Malcolm Rodriguez was going to be starting week 1. Looks like Malcolm Rodriguez could be starting week 1. You called it. What does this mean? I do like the aspect of putting your best players out there regardless of where you're at. With draft, undrafted, anything. This guy's 6th-round pick. What is he going to bring if he starts week 1?
Well, I think everyone's seen what he's going to bring. He's going to bring the juice. He's going to bring the fight that we've lacked in that linebacker room for some time now. And yes, you can see the raw nature of his game. Sometimes he's hitting the wrong gap. Sometimes getting held up. But you see him learn from those mistakes on the pitch. And you know what? I'm really glad this has happened because, like I say, we watched a lot of him in college before he came up here. And the big knock on him was always the size and the arms. And anyone who watched him in college who realized, he's got the wrestling background there. He in college has learned, he on tape deals with bigger guys. He's got the leverage. He's got the strength to deal with them. So it's not as big an issue as it is made out to be. And that Oklahoma State defense last year was nasty. They won the Big 12. Well, they were top of the Big 12 at the end of the year. He was one of the top players in that defense. And, the attitude was the key thing, the key ingredient that really put him over. And you heard it from nearly as soon as we drafted him from Kelvin Shepherd. He is, acting like a third-year guy in terms of the reads, in terms of how he's learning, etc. That's key. It's that ability to want to learn and want to get better. But then you add it in with his innate talent, and he's got a brain. The amount of times you see him hit the gap, get in the backfield, make a tackle for loss, etc., because he's got a brain. So all those things that work against him are nullified by the fact that he's clever and he's strong and he's got the backup to it. So, I'm just delighted to see him balling out like that. It shows that Brad Holmes knows what he's looking for. He seems a decent player even in the back end of the draft. Don't matter if you're small. If you've got the heart and the brain, you can overcome that. And, we're going to be the beneficiaries of this. We're just going to see a guy who plays hard, hits hard, and gets better every week he goes on. And hopefully, in due time, he'll be the green dot guy of the future because he is smart enough to be. I think that's what we've really got him in for, to be that leader in the long term.
And I can't stress this enough. He's going to make rookie mistakes, folks. If he start week 1 throughout the season, he's going to make rookie mistakes. Don't dogpile a 6th-round pick who's starting, who's going to make rookie mistakes. It's going to happen. He's not going to come out and be the best linebacker in the world. As long as he grows each game and gets better each game, that's what you want to see. So let him make the mistakes. That's perfectly fine. And I'm all about that. I'm not going to dogpile on a 6th-round pick that screws up a coverage every year and once in a while. It's just that's a terrible idea. And I'm with you. I don't really care about size. To me, that's kind of irrelevant. You see, again, like a Lavonte David, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's a dog. So as long as you got that dog mentality and you got those instincts, I think instincts is really important, too, with that linebacker. I think that you can be a good player in this league. So I am rooting for him. Hopefully he gets better each day, and that is something that we can build upon for this defense going forward. Joshua Pascal injured. He's not going to be playing for the first 4 weeks. Are you concerned about Pascal here and Levi Onwuzurike?
I'm concerned about Levi. I'm really concerned about Levi because, again, it's another one of those. The injuries are they're nagging. It is Deshaun Hand-esque in the way that he seems to get going. He seems to play all right. And just as he started making, he's got the momentum going, he's starting to progress in the right direction, another injury hits and derails that progression. And you just get to a point where you're not moving any closer towards the end goal of getting a complete player out of him. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love him. I really do. Again, as a prospect in school, you can see all the talent in the world he has, and he was misused at Washington, so you don't even see the best side of the play you're going to get out of him. But he's missed training camp for the second year in a row. He's missing all these preseason games. It's not prepping him for the big leagues, and I'm frustrated by the lack of progress. And it's not on him. These niggles keep happening. I don't know what it is, and it's a shame. And then Pascal's the same. It was the same with both of them. They were injured in college. We draft them. They get injured early in the process during the summer. Then they have surgery or have work done, and then they're not ready for their first season. And it just puts the development back. So I'm concerned about that aspect of what's happening there. Are we really looking at these injuries properly and seeing whether they're debilitating going forward or not? I mean, don't get me wrong, I trust Brad Holmes. Like I say, I think he's hit a smash round pick with Malcolm Rodriguez in the 6th this year. I think he's picked a lot of good players in his 2 years here. But when it comes to the injury evals, I'm a little concerned that, maybe all the due diligence in there has not been done, because something's just holding both of them back. We're missing him for 4 weeks, and we need interior D help. Thankfully, the second game this week, we saw the interior D come to play. Demetrius Taylor, who I've banged the drum for, is looking good. Kaminsky looks good. So we have guys in there, but, I want my second round picks that we paid for who are going to be elite guys, not sort of depth guys who are going to come in, do well, but not tip us over the edge. This D-line is what is meant to be, both our trenches is what's meant to be the strength of this team this year. And we can't utilize the full strength of our D-line because it ain't healthy.
I was so impressed with the Lions' defensive line versus the Colts. That was so important to stop that run. They didn't even get 40 yards rushing, the Colts didn't, and getting after the quarterback. So happy to see that, because if you do want to have a defense that's, blitzing a lot, you have to get to the quarterback to get those turnovers. If you're unable to do that, they're going to destroy you. And we've seen that week 1 preseason, but in week 2, it was different. One of the players that's been phenomenal on this defensive line, he's now my breakout player of the year. I've seen him consistently get better from last year, and now it just seems growing. And that's Austin Bryant. His development right now is through the roof. And I think the best part of the play that took with him in the Colts game was he got nicked up and he didn't want to get off the field. That's what I want to see from the Lions defensive line. Austin Bryant, can he be a contributor as a rotational player for this season? We got Ada Hutchinson, we got Charles Harris, but can we throw Austin Bryant in that hat as well as a disruptor?
Oh, hell yeah. He's jumped above Julian on the depth chart for me, and it's not even close right now. I mean, like Julian at the end of last year, Austin showed flashes towards the end of last season on the pitch for the Lions. So this isn't just a case of him being a preseason warrior. I think it's a case of, the end of last year was like, oh, hang on. I really need to up my game here. He played better as the season went on. And then in this camp, I mean, I must admit, I wasn't the highest on him. I don't think I think I wouldn't have been fussed if he'd have been cut or not, because that's just how I felt. But what I've seen these last few weeks, 3 sacks in training last week against the Colts, then takes it over into the game. What was it? A quarterback hit, 3 hurries, pressures, tackles in there. He was a nightmare. And, I believe he can. I think he's winning me over that this end of season burst last year wasn't a fluke, and it's for real. And like you said, he's fighting for his life. Charles Harris was doing this last year. Now Austin Bryant's doing it this year. He's fighting for his life, and he's going to go again and again and again and again, just like Dan Campbell said about Charles Harris in practice. I will put him in that rotation straight away, and if it's Julian and I have to dump because of that, then fine. I'm not even giving it a second thought at this point, because he's injured as well, and I'm done with him when it comes to his injuries. So I love what Austin Bryant's done, and I'm conflicted about the interior as well. Kaminsky has played really well. He got something stupid like 16 tackles or something the other day, didn't he? But I've always been a big Demetrius Taylor fan. I love the fact Demetrius Taylor plays all along the line, and for me, that versatility puts him ahead of Kaminsky. But then, I feel bad for Kaminsky, but I'd take both at this point. I'd just try and fit a load of DTs in there, because you need backup on you need rotation on your defensive line. It's tough. This is a lot tougher group than I thought it would be. It wasn't on my list of guys where I thought I'd be really, really conflicted coming into the 53 cut next week.
Absolutely impressed with what's going on, and hopefully they can carry on from game 2 of preseason going forward, because if you can have a defensive line like that, you can win football games. It's going to help out your linebackers most definitely, and the secondary that's struggled quite a bit, and we're going to talk about what the hell is going on here with the Lions secondary. But I'm going to talk about this rumor really quick. Jeff Risdon, he made a statement on the post-game show that what he heard is that Julian Okwara is not going to make the team and James Houston is not going to make the Lions 53-man roster. Would you be okay with those two not making the team?
Yes. I would be fine with that. I mean, I think me and you have both been on this boat sometimes now, and I know when I first started saying it, it was very unpopular. People are, oh, you can't get rid of Julian, Romeo's, etc. No, I can get rid of Julian. The injury history is there. The consistency, is not there, sadly. He's shown what he can do, but entirely too small doses. And there has to come a point where if you want to become a good team that wins football games every week, as you've already said, you need players who are available, who are going to make plays, who are going to get better. Julian has not got better. He's shown flashes, but he's not got better. So time for him to go. So I'm not fussed. You've seen Austin Bryant fighting for his life in this camp. That's what it means to him. These are the guys that rise to the top of a Dan Campbell team, the ones who fight hard and work hard. I'm all for that. Houston I would be disappointed with, but I can understand why, because he is a late round draft pick and he is coming into a room which is fiercely competitive. But I see a very capable outside linebacker there who can give you depth in two positions. So, I would still keep him. You spent a sixth rounder on him, I think it was, but I see potential for him there. I just think it needs building. So, if you could guarantee you could snatch him on the practice squad for me, I'd take that in a heartbeat and develop him there and got him ready for the first team. But I would like him to stay. But overall, no, I wouldn't care if either of them were cut majorly.
Let me know in the comment section, do you believe that Julian Okwara is going to be on the 53-man roster? Y for yes, N for no. I'm curious to see what you think. Look, I was with you. I've been with you on this one for a long time. This is way before training camp. I said Julian Okwara, to me, is going to be the surprise cut. I don't know if it'd be a surprise at this point. What has he done? Nothing yet.
Nothing.
He hasn't done anything. Would you take him over Austin Bryant? No.
No.
Absolutely
and
not.
like I say... No, and like I say, the big reason is people will say, well, Julian flashed at the end of last year. So did Austin. They both flashed at the end of last year, and Austin's doing it in training camp now. He ain't injured. So that's the big difference right then and there. We did this with the Deshaun Hand. We prayed and prayed and prayed, and we're Detroit fans. At the end of the day, we're very forgiving. We're very sympathetic to these guys, and we want to see them succeed and do well and give them time. But Deshaun, we wasted too many years on, and it's got to stop now because it's just going to keep happening. You've got to be ruthless if you're going for the playoffs, and these are the sort of guys who we need to get ruthless with.
You got to be cutthroat. It's a business. This is not, well, you're a nice guy. No, you got to win football games. That's the business of the NFL. It's not about being nice. It's not about none of that. You got to win. Like, you can do all the speeches in the world. You can have all the ability in the world as a player, but if you're not winning, you're not playing, it's not helping. So in my opinion, I don't believe he makes the team. Maybe they try to trade him away to another team for a player swap possibility. They could do a route like that, but I don't think he's going to be on this team at the 53. And I think that I would take Taylor right now over Julian Okwara. Definitely take Austin Bryant over him. Kaminsky, I'm taking over him. These guys bring something to the table, and he hasn't brought anything to the table. So just because he's a high draft pick, that's who you want to keep? I don't really care about high status of draft pick. No. Jerry Jacobs, he's not on the NFI list. This guy's an undrafted rookie, and he's been a big piece of this football team, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. You notice he wasn't on an NFI list. He wasn't on no PUP list. Does that mean Jerry Jacobs could be returning soon? And if so, what does that mean for Lions secondary?
I hope so, because he's the epitome of what you want back there. He is the scrappy underdog who will not be told no. There will be lots of people who said, "Oh, you're not going to make it in the league." There's just the hill is too big to climb. He's like, ain't no hill big enough, to stop me from climbing. He came in as undrafted free agent. He got his break in the team. It was because of injury, admittedly, but you know what? He grabbed it with both hands and didn't let go, and he kept on clawing and fighting for it. And he's the epitome of the player you want here. The player who will get better. He has the attitude. He has the relationship with the fans. I mean, the fans are massively on side with him. This is an underdog story with a fit player who you can get behind. And for him to hopefully be fit for the start of this season would be something amazing. But, he just brings that heart, that passion, and that desire to this team. A lot of teams would probably have cut him by now, even though he played well. Undrafted free agent, it's not a high draft pick, etc. They see something in him. They've kept him. And I think it'll be huge for this secondary just because I know that there's going to be no one in that secondary trying harder than him to prove people wrong, to make the plays, to keep getting better. I'm psyched to see him come back.
We got 116 in the building with only 44 likes. Let's get to at least 55 likes. Smash that like button. It pushes this stream out there. Try to change the narrative, trying to give a different perspective regarding our Detroit Lions. So you can be helped that. It's free to do so. It's just one little click. Lions secondary struggled versus the Colts. I think that's saying it lightly. Will Harris, he looked out of place. He looked lost. Now, our guy, Jeffrey Okudah, played better than he did. I personally think Jeffrey Okudah won the job now at this point. I think it shouldn't even be a question. I think Okudah should be starting over Will Harris. What is going on with their secondary? What do you think's going on in the Will Harris and Okudah battle? Who ultimately wins? Thoughts on this one?
I don't know. I think we're paying the price for not dealing with these units. I mean, this year we only spent the 3rd round pick on a safety. We didn't get Chase Lucas till the 7th. We've been investing in the trenches, especially with the premium draft pick. So I think you were always going to have problems in the secondary because we've not really put significant resources in to fix it. That being said, like you say, there are promising individual signs in here that things are getting better. I know Kirby's undergoing a trial by fire, which is fine. It's like we said with Malcolm Rodriguez. He's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. But you can see the desire in there for him. He's making plays. I mean, the first week, the one-on-one tackle at the goal line was superb. Just little bits like that give you hope going forward that you're going to get something with him. But, it's going to be tough this year. It's going to be tough. I'm hopeful with the corners because there's that many of them. I think they're going to push one another and they're going to, get a decent unit out of there. But, I think we're just paying for the fact that we ain't put much into this position. When you look at the money invested, safety, it's just Tracy. Corner, there's Jeff's a contract and he's still technically on his rookie deal. You ain't invested a lot of money there, so you're going to have some serious growing pains until you do. So if this D-line can make it good this year, then I think it negates a lot of the issues. And I think that is the plan, for the D-line to be that dominant that the secondary has a lot less work to do and can do better, with shorter amounts to work with. So I don't know. It is concerning, some of them, but again, some of them were blown coverages. They're things that can be fixed. I just think it's a price we're going to have to pay this year that the secondary is going to be a little bit naff, but hopefully that D-line will make up for it.
Johnny, you're not shadow banned. I seen that comment in the comment section. Test passed. You definitely, we're live and no one's shadow banned on here for sure. That's just what it is. Yeah, I'm concerned about how the secondary got shredded a little bit. I think it'd be better as soon as Jerry Jacobs gets back. I think that's gonna definitely help. He is a difference maker for this football team. And Melifonwu, he's been injured for that safety. Still wish he kind of been a corner, but he's been injured. I think he'll get better when they get back. Yeah, 100%. I think that's an issue there. And Will Harris just looked lost. We'll see what happens going in this up-and-coming game. And as Dan Campbell said, that the Lions starters are going to be playing excluding Jared Goff. What do you think about the Lions playing Sunday in preseason week 3, not Jared Goff? Do you think it's a good idea to get the starters time? Do you think, man, you should just be cautious and not do so? Thoughts on this development?
No, I want them to play. I kind of get what people say when they go, "Oh, we don't want them to get injured. We don't want them to get hurt." Man, look who we're coming up against week one. We're coming up against the Philadelphia Eagles. They're one of the most physical teams out there in the NFL. Their offensive line is one of the best in the NFL. That defensive line is nasty with some big playmakers on it. Do I want Aiden Hutchinson and all these guys playing against them week one with one set of reps between them in the preseason? One set of, Dan Campbell said himself, it's the best way to get match experience going into a year is playing in these games, getting the physical experience, toughening your body up for it. I don't want my guys going up against this team not ready physically for it, because they won't be. I want them in scrimmage. I want them fighting. If they get injured, fine. Honestly, I don't care. Look at our injury record these last few years. You'll get injured in training. You'll get injured in the regular season. How many players did we lose in the first month last year? Loads. It's going to happen. It's the NFL. I would rather my players be battle-hardened and ready for this season, because we're in for one hell of a fight week one. And I don't want Aiden having one drive under his preseason belt, one drive, and then we're expecting him to go up against that O-line and get sacks and, make an impact on a game. No, I want them to play a whole half. I want them to get this battling in there. And then, they're going to be better prepared for the start of the season. It is the best prep they'll get. Why in every other sport do you do tune-up games? Do you do warm-ups so that you're match fit when it comes to the season? And if you take a few knocks here and there, that's the price you pay. But I'd rather that than go up week one and get steamrolled because they ain't ready.
I concur with your statement right there, and I agree with Dan Campbell, how he says, why are we in pads? I got to get you ready, not just for being ready, but also it's for injuries, so you don't get injured. Your body is acclimated to the pains of the NFL, and if you look at the Detroit Lions history, we have a ton of injuries. It seems to be abnormally more compared to the rest of the NFL. So let's do something that is not normal. Let's get these guys battle-tested and acclimated to the pounding that they're going to be taking in the NFL. I think that really is important, 100%. And we got a lot of camp battles still going on. Again, who's going to be opposite of Amani Oruwariye? Linebacker position, the defensive line. Hell, we got wide receiver. Who's going to be the final? So you want to see these people play so we can see what cream rises to the top for these battles. A lot of battles take place. It is important. I don't mind Jared Goff not playing because I already know what he brings to the team. I think this offense is going to be really special. I think this offense could be a top 10 offense. I put it out there right now from everything that I saw in training camp, what I saw in preseason. I know what I have, but there's a lot of players that are still battling that we don't really know what we have right now, and so I want to see it play out that way.
Exactly. You're entirely right. Now, I get, if you want to rest players in preseason, I get why Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and all those guys get preseason off. These guys have won a Super Bowl. They've done it. They've earned the right to be rested during preseason. This team hasn't won anything. It's not done anything for years. It's not proved anything out. You have not earned the right to have preseason off. You've got to get down in those trenches, fight for your position on this team, get in that team for week one. And like you say, if they come out on Sunday and they battle hard, they play well, and you get some of your starters in that team, they've earned the right to be there. They have not earned the right to sit on their arse and do nothing during the preseason. They need to get ready because we are in for one hell of a battle week one, and that shapes our season big time, that game does. They blow us out, then it could all go down pretty quickly, but hey, we'll have healthy players, so who cares? No, I'm sorry, I don't want that. I want to see them ready to go to battle and to win.
Tough game week one. Philadelphia Eagles. They're a very talented football team. They can run the football. It's going to be tough. I think we're going to have to mass amount of points on offense to keep up with what they're going to do. I think they're going to put up a ton of points. I think our defense is going to get tested, and it's going to get hurt quite a bit. I think that the Eagles are going to score a ton of points. How do you see this one shaping out? I know it's a little premature, but we keep talking about the Eagles, and you're talking battle-tested. How do you think this one's going to turn out with the Philadelphia Eagles? It's going to be tough.
The Kool-Aid drinker in me wants to believe we can win. And truly, I do actually believe in the right circumstances. If we want it more, If that, Jalen Hurts is under pressure there to be quarterback. There are a lot of people who are not convinced by him. You get to him early, sack him a few times, force him to throw a pick through pressure, then all of a sudden those doubts creep in. And that team, which is really good on paper, you negate that strength they have on you because they start to believe that they can't win. That's what you've got to do. You've got to get in the hedge. You've got to hit them hard and be like, oh, God, we're in a battle here. Oh, God, we can't beat Detroit. What's going on here? That's how you win it. So, this offense needs to stay on the field. Problem we had last year, too many 3-and-outs. Defense got gassed too many games. How many times did we see the defense ball out in the first half and then just fade away because they were knackered? You've got to keep this offense on the field. And the one thing they did against the Colts really well, long, sustained drives with lots of plays in there. That's exactly how you go about beating the Eagles. If you can do that, win your trench battles, grind it forward, get the run going, get the passes going, beat them down, keep that defense off keep our defense off the field, keep their offense off. That's how you beat them. So it can be done. It is going to be difficult, but I want my players ready. And, the Steelers are a great team to practice against because what are they known for? They're known for being one of the toughest teams when it comes to the NFL. In those trenches, they're built tough. Even in the secondary, they're built tough. They hit hard. So if you want a test, this is the perfect one to end your preseason with it. And, you don't want guys who are not going to go in there and get hit, who aren't ready for that battle. Go in there and say, right, prove you deserve to start week 1. See who rises. And then you get a better team because of that.
It's going to be difficult. I think I have the Lions losing this game just because I just feel like they're going to be able to run all over us. They got so many dynamic players offensively. It's going to be really hard to match up with. And their defense is no slouch at all. Their defense is really good. I still think the offense is going to light them up. I think we got one of the best offenses. I'm really happy with the offense is doing, but I'm still sketchy on the Lions defense. And that's just one of those things going in. And my kid is looking at me doing something, trying to get me away from looking at the camera and talking to you as she's right on the side of me going crazy. So it's very disruptive, like a defensive line and what Austin Bryant does. Dang kids, man.
Pressure on the podcast host, yeah. Podcast host pressure.
It is 100% pressure. And one thing I did really like versus the Colts, and hopefully it continues the Steelers, is hashtag smash the hole. Our offensive line did a great job opening up the holes, and we were running the football with all our running backs. Who wins the running back battle for that final spot? Jackson threw his hat in there with his speed. I loved his speed. Godwin Igwebuike didn't fumble the ball. Jamar Jefferson, what do you got with this? Because we're smashing the hole. We just got to know who's smashing into hole.
It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, you mentioned the offensive line there. I loved the interior guys. Stenberg, Kramer, Brown all just killed it against the Colts. And I'd keep all 3 if I could this year because, you need O-line depth. But the running back room's tough. Anyone who watches our pod and watches my college pod and everything knows that I'm a really big Jamar Jefferson fan. And whilst he's not gotten the yards, the average yards per carry during this preseason, I look at a player's entire game, and one of the massive knocks coming into him last year, because of his size, is his pass protection. There was a knock on that, and rightly so. It wasn't great. His pass protection in this preseason, he's been the best pass protecting running back we have, and he's looked damn good, especially against the Falcons. He put some huge hits on pass rushes during that and kept, the quarterback safe. You need that third down back who can come in and pass protect. Swift can't really pass protect. Williams can't really pass protect. For me, Reynolds and Jackson don't really pass protect the greatest either. I think Jefferson has to make it for his pass protection skills, and I still believe you can get more out of him going forward. So my natural inclination is to go with him, but, I want Reynolds in there as well. Reynolds 3, Jamar's 4. Jackson, for me, yes, he's played well, but I can't include them all. And for me, I just think the others offer a bit too much that he can't. I think he's really one-dimensional in what he offers. It's just as a rusher. Outside of that, for me, there ain't much else. So Jamar and Reynolds take it for me.
New player threw his hat in the ring regarding the wide receiver as a kick return and /punt returner. Maurice Alexander, come in 65-yard kick return, 45-yard kick return, got some play on offense, caught everything. What do you think about him? Obviously, Tom Kennedy. He's big. He kills it in the preseason. Then you got Trinity Benson. Who do you have making it for that final wide receiver spot?
Oh, man, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be harsh here. Tom Kennedy should not be within 100 miles of this starting team. I'm sorry, but we've seen this before. You know, I've got people saying, oh, cut Cephas, keep Kennedy. Cephas is 2 years younger, and he's actually done it against real NFL teams and real defensive backs, you know, actual NFL caliber guys. He ain't done it against backups in preseason, and he don't have his best mate throwing at him as his first read. Blau, every time, first read, Kennedy, where is he? He ain't going to get that kind of treatment in the NFL, and he's just not going to break through. I'm sorry. It's like, in a baseball equivalent, he's your AAA star guy who every time he comes up to the majors gets knocked around and you send him back down again, Gus. It's just too big a leap. He's not there for me, and I'm not taking him. I mean, Maurice, love what Maurice did. Absolutely great as a punt returner. And for me, this is where one of the guys I hyped up before, Khalil Pimpleton, I think he's knocked him out the equation completely.
Yeah.
And I really like Khalil Pimpleton, but the drop in the end zone, you know, Maurice doing better on these, because that was his way onto the roster, returns for Pimpleton, and he's not been doing it. Maurice has. This is one of the big things I want to see week 3. I want to see Maurice get snaps as a receiver, because if you're going to take him for his special teams ability, you also have to see that he's got upside as a receiver to warrant taking these places, because he's going to knock someone out of this team who might offer you more upside as a receiver. So you've got to make damn sure that he has upside as well. Otherwise, you're just getting another special teamer. And whilst I like that, I like my special teamers to have upside and be able to develop forward. We've had too many guys who've just been special teamers and are not NFL players in a starting 11. So I really want to see them, give him as a go as a receiver next week. And if he does well as a receiver, fine, let's take him. I don't care. He's earned his stripes. He's got his way in. That's fine. If Benson does well again, then he's in there as well. It's tough. I think we're going to be disappointed by who gets dropped. So, but Benson does special teams, I don't believe. I've not seen him do special teams much. Maurice could easily get in front of him that way. But Cephas ain't on a bubble for me. I'm taking Cephas regardless. No.
Quintez Cephas brings a dimension that other receivers on this team don't have. He's that more physical wide receiver. Contested catch just gets open. The guy is a very physical guy, and I think the Lions really need that. He catches everything. He's proven he can do it in real NFL games. That shouldn't be a consideration, him not making the team. The only way he wouldn't be on the team to me is if they were to trade him away for another player, which I hope they don't do because I like Quintez Cephas. No. I think he can be a great player for the Lions, a good depth piece. Maurice Alexander, I love what he did with the kick returns. I'm not going to lie. If he does that again Sunday against the Steelers, I think he needs to be on this team because giving an offense so much easier field position, like you're giving them to near the 50-yard line every single time, is invaluable and huge. Special teams does make a difference. And like you said, if he could turn around and do decent on offense, I'm with you. I want that on this team. We haven't had a good real kick returner in a while. We haven't had one of those guys. Now, Khalif Raymond did it. He's all right, but Alexander was a different level this past week. Just one game. Want to see it consistent on Sunday, and I'm going to go with the special team guy because I'd love to see Jared Goff starting at the 45, at the 50. You know, that happened multiple times in a game. I mean, look at Devin Hester. Easier. What he did to that makes a hell of a difference.
Yeah, you can impose your run game more when you're not, when you're not pinned back on your own 10 or your own 20. You can run the ball better. You can just pass the ball better. Put the defense under some real strain straight away. So I agree, but I hope that Maurice can do it because I mean you've got to forget about these guys. You know, he plays in the NFL during the season. Then he's playing USFL. He's not stopped playing football. So this shows the heart and the desire he has to get on this team. They don't stop. This is the same for any USFL player. You know, they're putting their bodies through a hell of a lot of hurt just to get this opportunity. So, you know, if he gets it, it's to be celebrated. You know that you're going to get everything from him again.
100%. But you want to know what also is 100%? We're doing the mailbag segment. If you got questions, let us know. Ask me, ask Ant-Man, ask us both. Your time to shine. You got to do a hashtag LNU or hashtag Lions or hashtag something so I can see it because there's 120 of you right now in the building. So get those questions out there. Let's start the mailbag segment. Always love this part where you guys get to speak because sometimes it's hard to get it to respond to everybody's comments when they do videos and such. So I like to just hear what everybody's thoughts and crazy questions y'all come up with. So throw that in there and we're going to get ready here with these questions. So you don't believe Kennedy makes this team? You don't think he makes the 53, no. Tom Kennedy?
I don't think he... This sounds harsh. Not that I don't think he deserves it, but we were short of wide receivers last year. We were told that we had the worst receiving core in the NFL in some time last year. Where was he? After a positive preseason, where he played well in the games, where was he? He was on the practice squad. Why is he not making this team? Why is he not getting in this team and performing well last year, giving us an opportunity? He didn't. And if you can't do that when it's the worst wide receiving core in the league, then history says to me that you ain't going to do it this year either. And you're in a much more talented room this year. I'm sorry, Cephas has done it in the NFL, the real NFL. Raymond has done it in the NFL. Reynolds has done it in the NFL. I even talked about our top tier receivers there yet. So you're taking Kennedy as what, 7? Wide receiver 7? Wide receiver 6? I'm sorry, but, again, Lions fans, they like the... they like the underdog story sometimes more than the talent deserves. There has to be a line somewhere sometimes. And guys like him, we're never going to be successful if we're sort of just letting them hang around and never really make this team. And I know this sounds really harsh because he's done well in preseason and that, but this is history behind it. This ain't just one camp where he's done well. This is, the first of several where he's done well, and he's never progressed. And if you don't progress, sorry, this team needs to progress and go higher, and it's going without you.
John Ball says hashtag Boyle or Blau at quarterback. Who do you think ends up being the backup QB?
Again, I don't want either of them to be, but I will give them their dues. They both looked like they were playing for their spot against Indy.
Yeah.
They were, but Blau made the errors. And I feel like there's inherent bias Blau here. If Boyle had Blau's game on Saturday,
100%.
He would have gotten crucified for it, fumbling a snap, ruining a drive because of it, 100%. Throwing a pick. He would have got crucified. Did Blau get crucified? No. Boyle had a really decent game. Did anyone step forward and say he did? No. That's why I don't like Blau or Boyle, really, because Boyle's decent, but, he's never going to be the guy. And neither's Blau. And there's too much bias towards him for what he does. He's just not that good. I'm sorry, he really isn't. So
they're both
I just
not
get
that
rid of the pair of them. When the roster cuts come, you should be scouring there for a quarterback. Whether it's a guy who's just come out of college who's got a point to prove, something better than these mid-journeymen who are going nowhere.
Agree fully. I can't even. You know me. I've been real tough on these guys. I think that Tim Boyle's going to be the backup. What I think the Lions going to do.
Yeah, I do.
With you, what you're saying, what you would do, I'm 100% with you. I'm scouring every single released quarterback there is just to see the talent upgrade. I concur with you, but I do think Boyle will be the backup. David Blau screwing up, I think that was it, in my opinion. I think they say it's tight. Games. I think it's Boyle's.
He screwed up both games. He lost the game for us week 1. And, he screwed up twice in this previous game. It can't happen. And, we have to lose the sentimentality with some of these guys if we want to progress and be a winning team. And that's kind of what I've learned of it, because I was guilty of this sometimes, giving players a really long leash because I liked them. Now I've kind of realized that there has to be a line somewhere, and you have to be swift and decisive with your action. And these two, they've run out of time. So Boyle whilst he's here, but if there's anyone better out there who you can snag, go do it.
Overtime 3-3. If Jared Goff somehow managed to take the team to a Super Bowl, Does that make him the greatest Lions quarterback ever? I'm going to answer this one, and I'll let Anthony answer it. If he got the Lions to the Super Bowl, then there's going to be a statue made for him in Detroit. Remove RoboCop for the icon in Detroit. It's going to be Jared Goff, and I think that would have to be
I'll get this wall painted. I'll get this wall behind me painted as a big Jared Goff mural. If he takes us to a Super Bowl, his head will be there and shining away if he does that. I mean,
I'll paint my ceiling the Sistine Chapel with Jared Goff and
yeah. Let's come on wearing a Jared Goff mask or something. But I mean, to be honest, even if he gets us to a playoff win, it'll be one of the greatest turnarounds for a quarterback ever. So
it would be.
You've got to, So if he does well this season, you have to give him his credit. You have to credit the front office for believing in him.
100%. If he does what Stafford couldn't do, win a playoff game, and I don't care if the rest of the team's helping him out. I don't care. A playoff win or is a playoff win. I will paint the Sistine Chapel of Jared Goff above there. Him and Roger Goodell, like God, it would be touching fingers. I would be doing that. Mike and Anthony, should we prioritize finding a linebacker to add to this roster to complete our roster in 2022? Yes, 100%. It's just like backup quarterback. Scour the waiver wire for linebackers, and if we can't get any this year, the draft in 2023, one of these first-round picks needs to be a linebacker. I want a freaking linebacker. I want a guy, like I said, Malcolm Rodriguez, an up-and-comer. Throw him with Malcolm, and let's get this young core built. That's what I want, Anthony.
That's it. You want a young leader in here to lead these talented rookies in there. So I agree. You've always got to look to get better. Even if you think your unit's good, even like our receiving group, if someone surprising hits the waiver wire, go get them. You've got to do it you've always got to look to improve. So if the linebackers do, then fine. Yes, there's a lot of chafe here. You know, we can keep Rodriguez, we can keep Barnes, we'll keep Anzalone for however long we need to. Anyone else outside of that, expendable if there's someone better there. So, yeah, I would hope they're still going after a guy there. Because there'll be good ones available. Some teams are loaded at linebacker and can't carry them all.
Hashtag smash the toe.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What are the odds Jackson makes the RB room? I'd probably say about 30%. I'm going to go there. I still think I like what I saw. I do, but can he do it again? I hope so. I mean, look, I want them to do well, but I'll say 30%. What do you think about him making the roster?
I'd say 20.
Okay.
I don't think it's high.
Brandon McCann, go Lions. Do you think we still maybe see what quarterback twos are out there after cuts? I have no faith in our backups. I hope so. I think they should be. When that rumor came on with Mason Rudolph, to me, it was not the fact that we would trade for him, but was that the fact maybe they realized that the quarterbacks that we have are not that good? That's what I took away from the rumor, and maybe they'll look. I really hope so. I truly do.
It's smart roster building.
Yeah.
You know, you should always look to make your team better, even if it's in a position of strength. If someone even better comes along, then grab them and take them.
Why the hell not?
That is the goal. Exactly.
Well, like, you want to keep a guy just because you're friends with him, or you want to get a guy who's going to help your roster out? The best 53. You always want to have the best 53, and you should do roster turnover every single time. Does Jared Davis make this team? Do you think he makes team?
I don't know. I think Rodriguez and Barnes have played really well and alleviated any fears about them. I'm guessing Board comes on board for the special teams. So outside of that, you're getting quite to the bottom of the depth chart now. I think he's going to miss out. It would not surprise me if he is on our practice squad to start the year. I think he will clear waivers. I don't think anyone will touch him. I think he'll revert back to waivers and we'll have him on the practice squad.
That was my prediction way before training camp. I said Jared Davis, Julian Akwara don't make it. That would be the cuts that I have. I agree. He could go to the practice squad. He got 16 players there. I don't think anyone's going to pick him up. When do we address the secondary issues? If draft, what round? Well, I think it's going to be the draft when we address the secondary issues. If I were to just kind of be looking at it right now, maybe in the second round, I think that's a possibility. I haven't really done any look upon corners or safeties in this up-and-coming draft? I've just started with the quarterbacks, starting to get on the linebackers right now. But just looking at the need, I would say second or third round. What do you think, Anthony?
I mean, it all depends this year, doesn't it? If Levi and Pascal come back from injury and play well, then your defensive line is set. You will let Brockers go next year. You know, your young guys are going to take over. You're set there on the edge. Even if you let Romeo Okwara go, you've got Harris, you've got Bryant, hopefully you've got Hutch. I would go early. We have spent a lot of picks on our trenches in these last few years, and they are built. You have to spread the love around your team. Now, it depends how well Goff does, whether we go for a quarterback or not. But one of those first-round picks is going on a linebacker or a corner. And I will say that right now. The second one is going on a linebacker or a corner. The second-round pick is going on whichever one you don't go for other than that. I'm going high on defense on both because this offense is in a good situation. It's young. Most of them are under contract for a long time. You know, so you don't have to do too much there. You might have to wiggle around your running backs a little bit or something, but nothing major. You got all the big pieces. So go big on that damn defense and fix these areas that have been neglected for far too long. So a first-round pick's going on them, a second-round pick's going on them as a bare minimum for me.
Agree. Would Jameson Williams be considered a top 5 wide receiver by the end of next year? Do you think that he could be considered that? Personally, I wouldn't say by next year. I would say not by next year, but top 10, yes. What do you think?
I mean, what's the level for a top 5? Is Jamar Chase considered a top 5 receiver?
I
now,
would say, yeah. Chase, Devontae Adams.
So he's had 1 year in the league, Chase hasn't he? So if Williams gets a half season this year and a full season next year, with his blistering speed, if we can get in the postseason, I think that's going to be critical, getting in the postseason and winning games there to show he can do a stage.
Like
theoretically, yes, he could. I don't think Chase is a top 5 wide receiver talked about if that Bengals team doesn't get deep in the playoffs.
Yeah,
if Williams
100%.
comes back this year, balls out, gets us 100, 120 yards in a playoff game and we win, and then carries that on into next year, there's no reason why he can't be considered top 5 because he has that elite speed. You know, Tyreek Hill at one point may have been considered in that top 5 because of the speed and versatility he offers there. So he could be, theoretically.
Will Ben Johnson be our play caller to start the season? Yes, I've been saying this for a while. Ben Johnson's the offensive coordinator. He's done a phenomenal job. Besides that one weird play where they ran the football right before half against the Colts, other than that, I felt like his play calling has been really good, mixed with pass, run. I love what he's doing. I think that Dan Campbell will call if we go on 4th down. Other than that, Ben Johnson's going to be the guy. Do you think that as well?
I do, yes. I agree with you. I think, obviously, head coach has to take those 4th downs into his own hand because it's critical, and I think he will expect all the blame or success from those to be put on his shoulders. So I'm kind of with you there. I think he'll let him run it for the most part, and then when those critical calls come up on those downs, Campbell will come in and say, right, I'll take this. So, but yeah, I would expect him to, and you would hope so as well. They've given him the trust to do it. Yeah. So don't be like Matt Patricia. Don't micromanage it. Don't keep getting involved in that. Either let him do it or don't.
Let him be the guy. Don't micromanage. I hate micromanagement, even though that's kind of the beginning of my name. But it's not for managing. It's for economics. GM should look to get this team better. You see the issues. Please fix them or address it. Backup quarterback, linebacker, make a trade or do something. 100%. Can't argue there. You got to do it. You got to make this team better. That's what a GM...
Trade season's kicking off now. People are trading for players. If the right ones are there, especially if they're 6th, 7th, 5th round conditional picks, whatever, go out and do it.
Yeah, I mean, and we have players that's not going to make this team. They already know who's not going to make this team. Take one of those players and see if another team wants it, and then get a player that you think that can help your team. Player swap. Exactly. This is what you see quite a bit right now. You know, so do it. We need help at linebacker. We may have an access at wide receiver. Throw a team at Tom. Maybe that team wants a Tom Kennedy. Okay, well, we need to get a linebacker. So
exactly. And Brad Holmes is known for his wheeling and dealing. So
Yeah.
you would expect, because he's been very sort of conservative with it so far, apart from the Williams stuff. But I would fully expect him to be on the phone, watching these waiver wires, seeing what he can do. You just hear the way Dan Campbell talks about him, like, yeah, he's bringing in a lot of talent here, and if he sees talent that's ready, he will bring it in if he needs to by whatever means necessary. And I've no issues with that.
Man, bear, pig, who gets cut tonight to get down to 80? We already did that, so I'll let you know if you don't know in the comment section. Sean Dion Hamilton was cut. He is the lone cut, but Jameson Williams, NFI list, Joshua Pascal, Romeo Akwara, and who's the other player that went on the PUP list? The other player went on the PUP list, and that got it down to 80 for that. So that's the only person that got cut was Sean Dion Hamilton. Forgot the other play. It's probably just crossed my mind there. Lions are tired of seeing Harris back 10 yards behind the receivers. Are you tired of seeing Harris back?
Hell yeah. I think he means he's tired of seeing him get burned trying to chase after a guy after he's been cooked like a kipper. I'm sick of that. He's not it.
Do you think Chark gets 1,000 yards receiving from Big Wes Conniving? You think he does? I think it's possible for sure. 100%.
I picked him out to be my receiving leader this year, receiving yard leader this year. Because if you think, especially when Williams is back, people are going to be watching Williams because of the speed. People are going to be watching Amon-Ra because they know he's a hell of a player in the middle there. They've got TJ to deal with in the middle as well. I think Chark kind of gets forgot about because he's not elite in any prospect, but you don't immediately mark him out as a guy as, oh God, he's got that thing that's going to hurt us. So I think he's going to benefit from all those guys around him who people are going to be like, oh God, we've really got to take care of them. And Chark's a good receiver. He seems to have made a good connection with Goff really early. So I see him getting targeted a lot, making some good splash plays. I think he will be receiving yards leader this year.
Hashtag FGB, love the hashtag there. Who's winning our next game, Pittsburgh or Leos? Why the hell not? I'll just put us. Wins don't really matter. Honestly, I don't care. You're not going to see me say more lines if we lose a preseason game. I'll just go Lions for the fun of it. I mean, it really, and honestly, it doesn't, unless you bet. Betting, it does matter, but other than that, doesn't really matter. So I'll just say yes for the hell of it. What makes us Lions fans? We put up year after year of failure. We never give up because we love pain. We love disappointment. If you see my intros and my videos, if you enjoy taking a nap on a train tracks before a train comes, then you're a Lions fan. We're like dominatrix type of fans. We just love the pain. I don't know why we do it. Why do you love pain so much, Anthony? Why?
I don't know. Because it makes the success sweeter. You go through. It's not like you just win Super Bowls every year and you grow numb to it. You actually earn the victories here. And like I've said many times when we've asked this question, because everyone asks us it, it's the same with my football team back home here. It's small. It usually disappoints me a lot more than it does well, but I'll have one day that'll live in my memory forever when we went to Wembley, we won a cup, and I wouldn't trade that for, 20 Premier League wins. It meant that much. So you've got to earn your success here, and we will. It's going to taste so goddamn sweet when we do well here that you'll be thankful you went through it.
Interesting question here from Raw Detroit, my guy. Would you trade running back DeAndre Swift for running back Kareem Hunt?
No. I mean, no, because I think if both of them reach their ceiling, DeAndre's better. And I don't think it's even close.
I would trade to have both on the team. So I'd trade for Kareem Hunt as a 1-2 combination.
Yeah, I'd agree with that one more, but I don't think, I'd rather keep Swift. And, I love the tough love he's getting off Juice because I think he needs it. I think he's a player who needs to be grounded all the time and, been told to push because you do feel like he's the guy who, when he has a little bit of success. I mean, Lions fans went crazy in his first year. Oh, we might have a running back here. It blows your ego up. It kind of gets you there, and then you don't progress. Juice is grounding him and getting the best out of him. I think we'll see a great DeAndre this year. because he's getting pushed and motivated like he hasn't before.
Yeah, I hope so. He just got to stay. I think he's got all the tools, just got to stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, the Lions going to have a good run game. We've seen it. I think the depth is great for Detroit. Just stay healthy, Swift, and you should be a baller. What role do you see Jerry having when he comes back? I would say starter. I don't want him as a rotational player. And if that's a nickel corner, to me, nickel corner is now starter, basically. So that's what I see. I want Jerry Jacobs in the lineup. He's physical. He's done good. He got better every game. When he's back, he helps the Lions out. I want to see him on the field.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I said this at the start, at the start of preseason. Jerry, if healthy, should be starting in front of Okudah because he's earned it. Yeah. Jerry came into this team last year as an undrafted free agent who had no right to be here, and he made that starting spot his own. And if you show me on the pitch that you are worth that starting spot, that's worth more than any training camp does for me. He earned that spot. He has a right to come back to that spot when he comes back and be able to make it his own again. Now, if he comes back and he struggles a bit and he needs to rotate for a bit, that's fine. But I'm giving him the spot that he earned last year because he earned it.
Brendan's got a good question here because there is a big-time battle at tight end right now. Initially, we didn't think so, but it's starting to heat up, really. Who makes the tight end room, in your guys' opinion? You got T.J. Hockenson. I think, obviously, he's a lock. I think Brock Wright is a lock. But who's going to make that number 3? You got Zylstra, who's starting to make a name for himself. Right, you got Devin Funches, who's getting touchdowns preseason 1. Then you got James Mitchell, who's our draft pick. What do you think personally? This one's tough.
It is. I'm very conflicted. Shane Zylstra is another one of those who has come from left field a bit for me because I thought, I'm not going to lie, when he shattered his kneecap and he got injured, I thought he's done here. He's done. I ain't ever going to see him again. The fact that he's worked his way back from such a serious injury, he's obviously busted his balls off to get back on this team, and he's making plays on this team. I'm kind of like I've just said about Jerry, he kind of earned his way onto this team last year, and I think to cut him would be harsh. The same with Brock Wright. Brock Wright was an undrafted free agent last year. He comes onto this team and establishes himself as tight end 2, so he has also earned the right to be here. So, you feel tough cutting these guys, but again, James Mitchell was kind of like Malcolm Rodriguez with me. I was surprised we got him so low in the draft, but that was because of his injury. He spent all last year pretty much injured at Virginia Tech, so people are worried about that. But you saw him come into the game on Saturday. He blocked well. He made some nice catches. I know he didn't get a load of yards, but you want that blocking guy in there, and he can be. He needs a little bit of technical refinement, but you paid a 5th-round draft pick for him for a reason, and you want him in. So I don't know. I take Wright, Mitchell, and Hawk, but I feel absolutely terrible about leaving Zylstra out. And if it was the other way round and Mitchell got left out and Zylstra made it, I'd be a nut. I wouldn't be, if you get what I mean. It's just really hard.
I think James Mitchell, he's coming back from injury as well. We invested a draft pick in him. I want to see him make the team. I'll go with James Mitchell. Can Zylstra make the practice squad? Probably. If you were to say who is going to get picked up off waivers, I would think Mitchell would get picked up because of his draft status. Because before injury, he was considered a 3rd-round draft pick. I think another team would pick him up. If Zylstra gets let go, I don't think another team will pick him up. You can probably keep him on the practice squad. So that's the way I would go with it, personally.
Yeah, that's the ideal scenario. Yeah. That's the ideal scenario. You should get him back to the practice squad. Yeah. And then he can come up as and when you need him.
Just because you don't make the 53 doesn't mean you're not on the team. Practice squad's important as well. I mean, literally, you get an injury, they can just come right up. So that's how you got to think of it as a GM as well. See if you can stash him on the practice squad. Any draft picks you see not making the 53? Yeah, James Houston. I don't think he's making the team. What do you think?
I think James will struggle. Although I want him on the team, I'll go on record as saying, but I think he will just struggle because of the depth in those rooms. Chase Lucas may struggle. I know they really like him, but again, a lot of mouths to feed in that cornerback room. But, he might well have played himself into contention there. But I think, James and Chase would be the ones who struggle, but I think James is the most likely. But I don't want rid of him. I think he's going to be really good. if you develop him right. So I do hope he's on the practice squad as a minimum.
I think he'll. I think he'll get on the practice squad. I think he'll be a player that another team may not pick up. I think we can stash him there. Chase Lucas, right now, he's performing better than some other corners. I think he makes the team just because of that. His ceiling, I don't know what it is with our getting cornerbacks late, whether it be a late draft pick or undrafted, but we can develop these young guys. Jerry Jacobs is one of those. So, I like his ceiling compared right now what I'm seeing from Mike Hughes. So that's my personal opinion. I'd take Lucas over Hughes.
I know, and I never thought I'd say that. Hughes has just had a good year in the NFL, but hey, hell, what do you know?
Early predictions of who sees spotlight on Hard Knocks. At some point, you got to think Jared Goff's going to be spotlight.
Oh, damn it. You've just taken my answer, Mike. I thought I had a very clever answer there, and you've ruined it.
This guy's got to be on there. He's a quarterback.
It's not just that, though, but it's the backstory, him getting discarded by the Rams, sent to Detroit, struggling to win the fans over. That's like a perfect Hard Knocks narrative to have him there because, this team has placed a lot of trust in him. A lot of trust. And against the fans' will as well, really. They've placed a lot of trust in him. So, you've got to have him on there at some stage.
At some point. Folks, we got 81 likes. Let's get to 100 likes, literally 19 away. If you've not hit that like button, do so. Do we blitz the Eagles a lot and make them throw? Yeah, I think we're going to blitz a lot. I think this defense can be blitzing a lot. We've seen it in preseason. I think they're going to be aggressive.
They're blitzing the linebackers as well, which is what I've wanted to see for so goddamn long. Derek Barnes blitzing. Rodriguez blitzing. Bring the pressure. It's what they're good at. And lo and behold, we've had success this preseason with it. Sometimes it don't work. Our linebackers are rookies and they make mistakes, as you say, and it happens. I don't care. I just want to see them be aggressive because that is what they're best at. That's where we'll have the most success. None of this sat around in soft coverage. The secondary can do that on their own. They can sit in soft coverage and give up these stupid plays. Let the linebackers come up and make some plays themselves. I like the way Aaron going about it. He's utilizing these guys right, and hopefully we do it a lot against Pittsburgh because that O-line's trash, and it will get overwhelmed easy if you do so.
What do you guys think is the biggest game of the season? I'll start this, and I'll go to Anthony. My favorite game that I want to watch is Lions versus Miami Dolphins, but the biggest game's a little bit different. How about Lions versus Bills? It's our only primetime game on Thanksgiving. Got the whole world watching us. We've been terrible in Thanksgiving the last couple of years. Lions have a chance to at least look good and competent. Not saying we win, but dang, if you can at least compete with the Bills, who is considered a Super Bowl contender, I think that'd be a big game.
See, for me, the Eagles game's always been the big one. It sets the tone for your season. If you can have a respectable game against them and match them step for step, even if you lose, they are likely a playoff team this year who's going places, who's on the up. So if you can match them, then you're showing you're on an upward trajectory, that you're doing better. We got wiped away by them last year. So it sets the tone for the season. For me, a big loss could derail the season, whereas a win or a close loss will give us optimism going forward to smack other teams. Outside of that, it's the Bears. I want to whip the Bears twice because I'm fed up of them sweeping us because they're awful. And I'm fed up of their fans saying, we swept you 3 years in a row or whatever
I'm tired
it is now.
of it too.
I'm tired of it. I would trade a couple of wins just so we sweep the Bears this year because I'm sick and tired of them. I really am.
I think the Bears are not going to be good because their fan base has been talking a lot of garbage this offseason. A lot.
I want a 40 burger, 50 burger put down them. I want them to feel pain. I want them to feel years and years and years of pain wrapped up with a pretty bow on and a big kick up the arse for them. That is what I want.
Do you think Alexander gets featured on Hard Knocks? Probably not. I really don't think so.
If he makes the team, they will. Because the 53s next week isn't, Hard Knocks is featured after the 53s done. If you get a USFL star making the team against all the odds, I think you'll see him, but not until then.
Good luck. Dolphins 35, Lions 2. Look, man, whether we
Is
win or
that- is
lose,
that- is that
our
the number of
offense is
pick-
not going to put up 2 points. Or sorry, it wouldn't be. It would be what a
No, I
safety.
think what he's saying, that's the number of picks thrown in that game. I think that's what he's trying to say. Tua loves throwing picks, so yeah, I could agree with that. 35 picks from Tua.
Lions got a good offense. I don't know who's going to win that game, but we're going to be scoring a lot of points. I think a lot of people are going to be shocked how good this offense is. The whole fan base, all NFL fan bases have no idea about this offense. Our defense, not so much. Offense is going to put up points this year. It's going to be a lot of points scored. Hashtag LNU. The 49ers game last year was the same. Sadly, it didn't set the tone for the season. Yeah, I kind of knew the Lions are going to get their butts kicked versus the 49ers.
And I think we kind of got drawn into a false sense of hope by that faux comeback. I think that gave us a lot of optimism that we shouldn't have had. But agreed, San Francisco are a physical team who run the ball, and we just clearly were not on their level that day. And that set the tone for the season. So you've got to do it with the Eagles this year. You really, really have to.
Hashtag mail sack. Love the hashtag there. When the Lions make their playoff run, how many games gets flexed?
All of them. God. There'll be a fight over the TV rights if we make a playoff game.
Oh my God! For Lions making the playoffs, jeez, the moon turns to blood red if something like that happened. Yeah, it would be crazy. Next year, I think the Lions could do something like that. Jets blowing out Lions and Dolphins. Yeah, I don't know. Jets had some issues with the Falcons yesterday. I watched that game, so I don't know. We'll see.
Jets don't blow out much, really, do they? Apart from their own ego. That's all they blow every season. They come in really confident and then they go away miserable. They're not blowing out anybody this year.
You're like our team, man. The Jets is like our team. We gotta prove it first before we can go out there and start talking garbage, saying we're world beaters. We gotta win games before we can really do that, man. So if you guys start winning games, hey, I'll jump on the bandwagon and say, hey, Jets blowing out some teams. But other than that, you're like us. We gotta win. You gotta win. So that's really it. Yeah. What do you think about the Thibodeau play? I didn't really care about it. It wasn't a big deal. I didn't think it was a bad play.
Legal play. It was a legal play.
Just the guy got injured.
I think both guys kind of went into it wrong. It was bad execution on making the tackle and receiving the tackle. There is a way to brace for impact on that. And I think both of them just messed it up. I don't agree with the overreaction that it was malicious or vile. You see them all the time. It's just no one complains unless someone gets injured. If that was a 7th round draft pick from this year's draft, no one would care. It's just because it's Kayvon that people care.
Yeah, I'm not bashing on the Jets either from the Jets game. I think they're just kind of like the Lions. You got to prove yourself. I got no issue with the Jets. I mean, they're an AFC team.
I don't. I
young
like
team.
Salah. I
love their
Salah
draft.
Here.
They had a hell of a draft.
Salah here, so yeah, they did.
They got Sauce Gardner, and then they got Johnson, and they're building something there. They just got to prove it like us. Just got to prove it. What do you think about? Oh, I already did the Thibodeau play. Yeah, Lions are world beaters. I hope at some point we are. We got to prove it though. We just got to prove, folks. We've been on for a little over an hour and a half. It's that time to kind of end the show. What do you got to say to the folks out there? Tell everybody about your channel. Why people need to subscribe to Roar the Lions UK.
So you can find us at Roar of the Lions UK. We go live on Mondays. We go live on Wednesdays with a college show. We do Detroit Lions stuff on a Monday. If you want to hear some Lions chatter with a different sort of flavor on it from here across the Atlantic, then by all means come along and give us a check out. We're a good fun bunch. Mike can attest to that. But yeah, everyone knows you already, Mike. But if no one does, then check Mike out as well. Mike's the gold standard at doing this. We could only ever aspire to be what Mike is. So I'm honored to be on here with you. It's amazing. It really is amazing. So yeah,
appreciate it, man. Put it in again. This is the link to the channel, Roar the Lions UK. I'm throwing a link right now. Go ahead and click on that link. Subscribe to the channel. They got epic content. All you got to do is click it, subscribe, and you get it. A lot of live streams. They live stream watch parties, and I go in there. I try every time to make sure I raid the channel and throw people over there. So go check it out. That's what it's all about. With that said, folks, adios.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it.